Good afternoon. I'd like to do a brief demonstration of how to add a member server to a Windows Active Directory domain. We're doing this because now in Chapter 9 we're talking about the virtual desktop infrastructure. Two different ways of doing this. One of them with VMware's ecosystem and VMware Horizons. The other one with Microsoft, Hyper-V, and remote desktop services. One of the things that you're going to need is a member server. So I would like to, since we haven't done this sort of thing since, unless you've been, you decided to spin up your own NFS or iSCSI server in Chapter 7 or 8, or actually iSCSI would have been Chapter 4. In any case, if you haven't done this in a while, I wanted to demonstrate how to do it. The key words in this sentence are member server. So you have a server, which is a member of an Active Directory domain, but it does not have Active Directory domain services installed. So that's what I've got here. I've got this Windows 2016 box. What I'm actually going to do with this next, hopefully, is install iSCSI and possibly move my NFS from my domain controller, which doesn't seem to want to let me do anything with iSCSI or NFS anymore. And now that I've decided, hey, I'm going to have a member server, I might as well co-locate the file services stuff on said member server. It could also be, also support other aspects of this. I don't believe I'm going to attempt a VMware Horizon on this platform. But I want to show you how this works. So what the first thing I did actually install Windows Server 2016, leave it in NAT mode for a while, update it, and you can see I've done that. I put it in, and actually, so I gave it an IP address. Actually, I let it find an IP address from the hypervisor. I updated it. I did some Windows updates. Now I've actually moved it into my LAN segment, and it is pulled an IP address from, ironically enough, my DC. So this is where we are. So I want to allow it to discover things. It's on my Cyber Penguin network. And the next thing I need to do is to give this thing a static address. What I'm going to do is actually make this one 100 right quick. And then I'm going to add it to my domain. Really what you're doing here is you add this thing to the domain and then you go from there, and then you let it do what it wants to do. There are actually a couple of activities in the book. Activity 9.2, installing Active Directory, which honestly should be a review for you. I believe we did it earlier in the, it would have done something like this earlier in the course. If you have a controller already, from say activity 8.12 or an earlier activity, great. You don't have to install Active Directory. You can just skip to to activity 9.3, setting up your member server. Yeah, and I've also named this thing correctly. It had some random name, whatever. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is make this 10. Okay, numlock would help, wouldn't it? 10.13.37.100. Make this 10.13.37.1. 10.13.37.2. Validate. Okay. Close. And it is probably going to find, okay, detecting problems. Oh, okay, this is the validation. This is what I asked it to do. So I'm going to pause for just a second. So I wasn't recording. This thing has given me has indicated that there seems to be kind of a problem with DNS resolution. So I'm troubleshooting. You're going to need to be able to resolve DNS in order for the Active Directory add process to work. So ping 10.13.37.2. It's there. Interesting. Let's see. So let's try this now. So what I'm going to do now is change. I want to add myself to a domain. cyberpenguin.fbc. Domain. I think my username is Andrew. Actually, I think it's actually, hold on, I have to check this. And we'll find out. Welcome. Okay, there it is. So I have added my server to the domain. And now okay, close, okay, restart now. Let me go over to my domain controller. Let me make sure it's still there. And now that I've done this, I might actually, for the sake of not messing around with my domain controller all that much, what I might do now that I've got a member server, which is which has the server manager, which has all the appropriate tools, so that I don't mess up, run the risk rather of messing up my Active Directory or DNS or DHCP or any of that. What I might do now is use my file server more or less as a console to this domain controller here. I'm going to look at my DNS, view. Actually, I could do this a couple different ways. Either check DNS to see if that record has come in, because this is Active Directory integrated DNS, therefore by definition is dynamic. And it has not added it yet. Oh, I mean to add that. Actually, let me look at my users and computers. What I might need to do is computers. Okay, see, I've got my server 16 files. What I'm going to do now is add this to my domain. Add an A record. New host. Call this SRV16 files. SRV16 files. And 10.13.37.100. Add host. Okay, cool, done. Now, if I want to use an iSCSI target, now that this thing is going to be an iSCSI target, I maybe could do things on the basis of the FQDN and not the IP address. That's one of the other things I want to demonstrate. We didn't have to do this for Chapter 8 rather, but I would like to demonstrate this, how adding an ESXi host, an iSCSI target to an ESXi host would work, because it is similar to the process you would have used for in MineTap for Chapter 8. You make a lot of the same decisions in roughly the same order. It looks very familiar, but is not precisely the same. And now that the vSphere client, the vSphere client no longer exists, and we're not doing. I want you to see how this works in ESXi directly. So there's that, and thank you for watching.